Welcome to Cooley Landing. We're happy you're here, virtually. My name is Sara Witt, and I'm an ecologist with Grassroots Ecology.
And I'm Christina Bobea, a project lead with Grassroots. Grassroots Ecology is a non-profit organization that works to engage and educate the public to restore local ecosystems. We involve thousands of volunteers each year in habitat restoration, community science, and urban ecology projects. We also work in education, teaching students from elementary school age through college, both in the classroom and out on field trips. Lastly, we have a native plant nursery, where we cultivate hundreds of different species of California plants, all collected locally from seed. We can reduce the rate of sea level rise and protect our communities by learning about what solutions are available to us. First, we will consider nature-based solutions, which use nature to combat issues that affect both human societies and the environment, such as climate change, sea level rise, human health, and much more. They are also cost-effective, improve the environment's resiliency, and provide social and economic benefits.
One key nature-based climate adaptation solution is habitat restoration. Habitat restoration helps to restore degraded ecosystems and make them more resilient. Some ways we can restore habitat include removing weedy, invasive plants, protecting creek banks from erosion, and planting plants that are native to the San Francisco Bay Area.
Native plants have co-evolved with local insects, birds, and other wildlife, so they provide the best food and habitat for animals and are adapted to the climate of this region. Invasive species are plants from other parts of the world that have been introduced to California either intentionally or accidentally. Because the animals that co-evolved with invasive species aren't present in California, they grow uncontrollably without wildlife eating them. Invasive species take up space, water, and sunlight that our native California plants need to grow, which negatively impacts the wildlife.
Here at Cooley Landing, we have been engaging in habitat restoration with volunteers by planting native plants like marsh gum plant, western goldenrod, and creeping wild ryegrass.
Marsh gum plant, or Grindelia stricta, is this native shrub with bright yellow flowers. Its buds hold a sticky white substance that has been used as chewing gum. Butterflies, beetles, moths, and bees all love the flowers, while birds enjoy eating the seeds. The endangered ridgeway's rail takes refuge in the marsh gum plant during high tide and also uses its stems to build its nests.
Western goldenrod, or Euthamia occidentalis, is a native perennial plant with yellow clusters of flowers at the top. You'll find it near water, and it's often visited by bees and butterflies. The monarch, painted lady, and western tiger swallowtail butterflies all love its nectar.
Creeping wild rye, or Elymus triticoides, is a native grass you'll find protecting the water's edge. The rhizomatous root system holds the soil in place, while the above-ground vegetation provides food and habitat for ground-nesting birds, small mammals, and insects. It also tends to form a thick thatch, which keeps invasive species under control.
Restoring wetlands creates a refugia, a safe space for species that will suffer under harsher conditions due to climate change. Cooley Landing is part of the Pacific Flyway, a major north-south path for migratory birds in America. When Cooley Landing becomes an island, the plants we are installing and protecting today will be where birds can safely nest in the future. We need to keep restoring our marshes to ensure the longevity of different bird species, such as the snowy egret, western sandpiper, marbled godwit, willet, long-billed curlew, and the great blue heron.
By restoring wetlands, we also help to build a protective barrier between our communities and the ocean. Wetlands help to break the energy of waves, safeguarding our communities. Wetlands can also store 3 times as much water as dry land because of the porous soil and the ability of some species to store water. Eventually, that water will either be filtered into groundwater supplies or evaporated.
If we are able to slow the rate of sea level rise, wetlands will be able to grow higher in elevation above sea level by trapping sediment or by building upon the peat the sediment creates and keep pace with sea level rise. If conservation efforts are not successful enough to keep pace with sea level rise, we may begin to retreat the high marsh habitat into higher elevations.
There are many things you can do to combat climate change. One thing you can do is get involved with local organizations like Grassroots Ecology that work to restore habitat in your community. You can also plant native plants in your neighborhood. You'd be surprised by just how many birds and beneficial insects you can attract to your neighborhood by installing one native tree.
Picking up trash is something else you can do to prevent it from entering our creeks, bay, and ocean. Certain types of trash can interfere with plant growth, change the chemical composition of the water, and affect the resiliency of our wetland ecosystems.
You can also calculate your carbon footprint, figure out ways you can reduce the amount of carbon emissions you produce, write an email to your mayor or city council members urging them to take action in the face of climate change, and register to vote.
Lastly, a great way to deepen your commitment to the environment is to go for a walk in nature. Take a friend for a hike and share with them what you've learned. Show them how much you care about the environment, and they're likely to care too.
To put this idea into action, we're going to ask that you go for a hike right now as a part of your field trip. We encourage you to go to the Baylands if possible, but if not, your neighborhood is another great option. We will be documenting biodiversity using iNaturalist. iNaturalist is a platform that uses photos of plants and animals that are uploaded by people all over the world and contributes to the scientific understanding of species distributions. Using the GPS location of photos that are uploaded by millions of people, scientists have been able to discover plants and animals that are endangered or were even thought to be extinct. They have also been able to monitor trends in plant distribution as well as when plants bloom, two factors that will shift as the climate continues to change. By using this platform, you can have a direct impact on conservation.
You can use the free iNaturalist app to directly take and upload photos or observations, or you can take photos and later upload them to the iNaturalist website. To download the app, search the store on your smartphone and look for the free iNaturalist app. It is a light green bird icon on a white background. To use the app, you will need an account with a username, email address, and password. You can also sign up for an iNaturalist account on a computer and log into your account to upload the photos you take.
To make an observation, click on the app and then press the camera image at the bottom of the screen where it says Observe. Snap a photo of your specimen and then click Next. Here you can add more photos of the specimen if you'd like a close-up or a different perspective. For plants, taking close-up photos of leaves and flowers and a photo of the whole plant is useful for people to help identify your observation. Underneath, make sure the date and location are correct. If you're near your home, we recommend clicking Obscured for geoprivacy. That way, your location will be identified as something broader, like San Mateo County. If your plant was planted there by humans, like a plant in a garden or landscaped area, change the Captive Cultivated section to Yes. Click on the question mark, What did you see box, and the app will use artificial intelligence to try to guess what it is, and some suggestions with photos will appear. If the app doesn't have a good guess, just type in what you know, even if it's just plant or animal. Lastly, click the green button Share at the bottom of the screen to upload your observation to the database. You will need to go through these steps to create a separate observation for each different species you see. We're going to be using iNaturalist to make 6 observations, 3 of plants and 3 of animals. Your plant observations will vary based on your location. If you're able to go to the Baylands, at least one of your observations should be a plant highlighted in this video. either marsh gum plant, western goldenrod, or creeping wild rye. Your other two observations can be any other plant that you see. If you're staying in your neighborhood, take and upload 3 observations of wild plants.
Your 3 animal observations can be anything you find, including insects, birds, reptiles, mammals, etc. They also don't have to be an actual animal. They can be evidence of an animal, like scat on the ground or tracks in the mud. Be sure to write your iNaturalist username in your YESS journal so we can assist you with your identifications.
While on your walk, try to think about how this environment has and will change over the course of time. First, think about what this area would have looked like pre-colonialization. Would you be standing in the wetlands? Is there a creek near you that has been diverted underground? How would the ecosystem look different?
Imagine what this area will look like in the future. What will this space look like in 100 years? Will it be affected by sea level rise? Is there habitat restoration happening in the area that may change the number and species of plants here? Will we need to build a levee?
Thanks for joining us for a morning at Cooley Landing. To learn more about habitat restoration efforts here and how you can get involved, check out grassrootsecology.org. We hope to see you at a habitat restoration event in the future.
In the meantime, enjoy your hike, make some interesting observations, and stay safe.